because the ability to sit when I'm uncomfortable is very strange for me. But I've committed to do it because I want to feel free. I want to be who I am. I know that's absolutely my main job on this planet, is to be who I am. Okie dokie. So I am going to leave you. Don't clap, please. Anyway, with this idea of how to really take this into your world, because there's a lot of safety here at Unity, because we really love everybody just as they are. And so it's when you go out in the world and you got to practice. I'll often say, why doesn't it feel like it feels at a Unity community out in the world on the highway? But the idea is because we're practicing how to allow life to be what it is and be the blessing that you are.
To introduce to you today Reverend Heidi Alfrey, an ordained minister, a transformational leader, speaker, and teacher of authentic spiritual living. Her journey with Unity started 40 years ago, initially through the 12-step program. And she served in Unity ministries in Fort Lauderdale, Maui, Kansas City, Chicago, Santa Barbara, and Ventura. She was what is that? What? Seems Reverend Heidi isn't here today. She couldn't show. And a spiritual, mystical occurrence is happening. Who? The Witch of Wonder? Is there a Witch of Wonder? A Witch of Wonder. Welcome, Witch of Wonder.
The Witch of Wonder is going to need a podium. Just a moment. Oh, my heavens. Good morning. I will tell you, my best time is in the evening, but because you all are so inspirational, this is my morning look. Yes. I am so grateful to be here because we, as spiritual beings, as Tammy so beautifully put it, have some inner work to do. Yes. I will tell you, if you don't know about the witch's family tree, there's two parts of the witch's family tree. There is the wicked side, from which I come, and there is the wonderful side, or the Glinda side, which are the people with the ruby red slippers that you'll see in a moment. Yes, but we all come from the same root. So I am here to help us all understand that we are one with everything. Can we say that together? I am one with everything. Let's say it. I am one with everything. And I'm glad you said it first because I've got some other things to tell you about that you're one with. Yes. So from the wicked side, we have branched out in the years of being the wicked witches. We've branched out, not just black. We also have purple. We also have a little green, as Tammy is showing you over here. And so we all keep evolving, yes? You all keep evolving. You said you've been part of Unity for however long. You would come in here to open your mind and to be this best version of yourself. And guess what? It's easy in here because you go out there and there's really all the wicked ideas in your head. Somebody cut you off in traffic, or someone stole my broom the other day. And I just had to work with myself because I still have some wicked spells, and I don't use them anymore. Actually, I go to Wicked Witch Anonymous. Yes, you don't think the WW is not just for Weight Watchers anymore. It's also Wicked Witch Anonymous. And I had to learn that the good witch and Glinda and Galinda is also part of me. And this wicked experience is also part of people that need to be good all the time. Yes? Have you ever heard of wicked fun? Have you heard of wicked smart? Right? There's all kinds of ways to use wicked that aren't about hurting yourself or others. And we're going to learn about this. Yes, and so I continue to learn about it. But if you remember, I don't know if anyone was alive in 1939, but there was a movie that was created that was called The Wizard of Oz. Anybody heard of it? Right, yes, yes, yes. And that movie was a wonderful film, but at that time, the wicked and the wonderful were really separate, right? So that wonderful woman that played Margaret Hamilton, that played that wicked witch, oh my heavens, wicked was so bad, right? Do you know that the makeup they put on her face had copper in it? I mean, this was major stuff. She was actually, when she left Munchkinland, there was a big explosion and she got burned. And they kept putting on that green makeup, right? So Wicked, we've done bad things to Wicked. We've let it be way over there. And I know you probably sometime in your life called somebody wicked. Yes? And you thought that person has nothing to do with me. But remember our affirmation, I am one with everything. Ooh, we got to say it again. I am one with everything, yes. And it takes reflection. That's why I'm the Witch of Wonder. And it took me a while to get to this position because I was not about wonder. I was about who's right and who's wrong. Have you ever had that feeling in your life? It's horrible and it's exhausting. So let me tell you about things. Now let's look at what, in that film, what was going on with this Wicked Witch. I think that's our first slide. Over in Wicked Witch Land, we don't have slides, but I'm working with this. So here we go. Oh, we got Glinda first. Don't we always have Glinda first? Ugh. Anyway, so you know who is the Glinda, the one that always has to be good. That might be part of your life. That was not what I was given in this life because I have a sister that's just like her. Okay, so here we go. Glinda is curious, and she's non-judgmental, and she's engaged, and she's patient, and she's surrounded by munchkins, the loving, childlike energy that makes us dress up in costumes. Yes, and she's undefeatable, yeah? She also floats around in that bubble. I mean, how practical is that? Anybody can burst a bubble. But she comes in with the celestial music, and that's Glinda, remember? Okay, and then the Wicked Witch, oh my gosh, is she ever portrayed as something horrible? Let's see here. What do we have for the Wicked Witch? Yes, she's a bad witch. She's egocentric. She's conniving. She believes in not enough. You know, she wants those ruby slippers. My life cannot go on without the ruby slippers. In fact, I've seen some ruby slippers over here. Oh, I'm in recovery. Wicked Witch Anonymous. I cannot steal people's shoes anymore. Ugh. Because I love finally a talk about shoes. Yes, shoes, very important. So we always are looking for what we don't have. Somebody has it better. You know, this Dorothy character, all I wanted to do as that Wicked Witch from that line of the family, was just destroy Dorothy. I was not interested in all the strengths and benefits of my own life. And then I'm frantic energy with all those monkeys. And finally, I get melted by the life source of water. Isn't that interesting? How when you get into that truth, the truth beyond this mortal understanding, we really get freed. Okay, so she was killed, but in general, we get freed. So many years later, there is a book and a musical called Wicked. And Wicked has these two lines of our tree, but we come to find out there's a whole story in the back of the Wicked Witch, in the back of our story. There's all kinds of things that no one knew about her. Don't you realize when you're mad at someone and someone is just the bane of your existence, you don't know about their life, you don't know about their background, you don't know how they were raised, you don't know anything about them, but you're mad at them, right? Because they're different than you are. I don't know about you, but I was married twice. It's kind of embarrassing, but since I'm here just telling you all about my recovery, I married two gentlemen, warlocks, that were very different than I. And we spent all of our time talking about our differences rather than seeing our strengths. So I am single now. Anybody? Yes. But the thing is, and I'm still recovering, but what I recognized is looking at differences, we say we're unique. Yes, no one has your thumbprint. So no one's going to see the world exactly like you see it. But we certainly go around looking for those people, don't we? Instead of being interested in growing with people that are different. So my question this morning is, which witch are you? Are you over here on the wicked side, which is a little more fun? Okay? Or are you over here on the I gotta be good all the time side, and then I'm always making everybody wrong? And don't we have both of those sides in us? Don't we have the fun-loving, kind of mischievous part, maybe the childlike wonder? And then we can follow the rules, but we don't have to make it like, don't you follow the rules? I follow the rules. Everybody should follow the rules. That's not fun, right? But that's how we live. So our opportunity here is to really look at, see, this is why I'm the witch of wonder. Wonder forces you to stop and say, I wonder if what I'm thinking and the action I'm thinking about taking is going to make the world better or this situation better. I had the other day, I'm still in recovery, right? I had a text that I was about to send, because I text now. I am like on it. So but I was about to send a message to another witch, another wicked witch, and I had to look at it and say, that's really not very kind. You're slipping on your program here. Why don't you not send it and think about, would silence be better than stirring up this cauldron of energy? The witch of wonder has to do that. We have to stop and ask ourselves, what is really the highest choice? And it is not easy. Is it easy? Is this easy? No, because I don't know about you, but I ended up, having a sister that's the Glinda. And then I end up the more good she got, the more bad I had to get. And neither one of us were really happy. So I've had to look into her strengths and the joys of who she is. Now, when we make someone a villain, like the wicked witch, right? Where is the villain really living? Where is that villain living? Inside of us. Oh, y'all are really ahead of this thing. Yes, inside of us. And don't you notice how tricky it is when people see things differently? And how you sometimes want to change that person instead of, as Tammy was telling us, change our thoughts. This is what was interesting, and I also learned this in recovery. If you have the word evil and you turn it around, you get the word live. Yes, live, or live. Also, live is good. So isn't that fascinating? When I can start to look at how I'm seeing the world and somebody's wrong, then I get to shift and become a more, let's say, spiritual being, but not a spiritual being here to make others bad or wrong. I studied a bit about unity, and the founders of unity were very different people. Myrtle Fillmore was very much a witch of wonder. Yes, she had an illness, and she could have been mad at her family for having this illness for years. She could have felt, frustrated that she couldn't go do the things that some people were doing that felt better. She could have done a lot of things, but she got curious as to what is happening with my body. Maybe there's an aspect of myself that I don't love, that I could love, and maybe that's part of my healing, rather than just going around and being mad about it. Isn't that tricky when you're really mad about something and really frustrated about something and really feeling like, why me? To stop and start to ponder, start to wonder. So she got an affirmation that we all know, I'm a child of God and therefore I don't inherit sickness. And she had to sit with that because I really felt like I inherited sickness. That's my life, being frustrated about this. But she sat with it, and she sat with it because you have to believe on this spiritual path that there's something so magnificent about you just as you. And as she sat with that truth, the lie started to disappear. Like that witch where you throw the water. The death, the life, the evil turns into life. And so she heals herself. Now, her partner is very different than her. Charles was a mental guy, and Myrtle was more of a heart person. And he could have said, as we've said to many people, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. You didn't heal yourself through meditation. That's just goofy. You need to learn something. You need to study something. He was so inspired by what she did, he started writing. He started writing about it. He was so inspired. So I just find that to be such an interesting journey of these two different people that had they not come together and seen, I am one with everything, we wouldn't be sitting here today. Charles was the big writer of what happened to Myrtle, and he saw it as spiritual principle. He saw it as a metaphysical experience. Yeah? Now, let me show you what happens. Now, let's see, because the other thing we can do is compare ourselves. Let me see what comes up next on the old witch meter here. Okay, it's a scripture, and this is Jesus. Jesus was a very balanced individual that knew about how to have some fun and knew how to be wonderful. So here we go. He says, you can't serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. And this is how we live. Is there anything about yourself that you would not want to tell another person? Probably. I just moved in with my brother and sister-in-law, and I didn't tell them that I wasn't quite as tidy as they are. I thought I would allow them to discover this. But we see that these are things that we don't, there's things about us that we want to keep secret. And that is the part where we can't live in this, there's a bad part of me that I don't want to reveal. And I just want everybody to see the good part of me. But what I recognize, if I can lean into that part of me that I think is bad and share it with others as we do in Wicked Witches Anonymous, then I'm not so bad. It can be kind of funny even. You know, it can be kind of humorous who I am when I look at not having to serve two masters. So years later, here came Wicked. You're going to hear this beautiful song in just a moment. And it came to be that because we have all changed, you may not know this about yourself, but you have evolved. You have. You think of something even a year ago how your life was, and you're different. But if you think of 20 years ago or 30 years ago, you may not even recognize yourself. I've shared that I spent some of my early little witch years in this area of the world, Texas. Yes. And so those many years ago, I was rather troubled. I was stuck in my wickedness. And I come back 40 years later. I live in an area that everybody outside of Texas calls Seguin, but it's Seguin. And I have noticed how far I've come in 40 years, and you have too. It's amazing to see how Spirit is just drawing out the best version of you. And how we miss it is when something we don't like is happening and we go, oh, no, I can't deal with that. No. Right? It's rather than saying, oh, what a fascinating opportunity to dig deeper within myself. And I wish it came automatically. I really do. My sister and I are like, I guess I can't even tell our ages, but we're only 13 months apart. And just recently, we've started to, I had to start it, see the benefit in her, because it took a long time. And I want to share a little bit about the song you're about to sing, because they're about to sing. I won't be singing. That is a real benefit for you all. So the song is called For Good. And one of the lyrics is, because I knew you, I've been changed for good. There's another little lyric here, and it says, it well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I've learned from you. Can you imagine really deciding to live like that? That the most challenging situation, as I shared, I was very troubled. I had a little bit too much of the witch's brew when I was young. And I was flying very irresponsibly on my broom, and I got in a lot of trouble. But the point is, I came to understand that all of that disaster and all of that mess and many, many, many things that have happened in 40 years has been part of what helped me awaken. Right, has let me see the wonderful part of me as well as the wicked part of me. And wicked, again, we're changing that word to passionate or curious, or what I want to say, the idea of like wicked fun, like wicked, right? You know, that's more of this passionate, childlike part of you. Gandhi, another friend of mine, said that if we do this eye for an eye all the time, we just get to be blind. And blind meaning not physically blind, but spiritually blind, which is so much more painful. Yeah? So I invite you to reflect, as we are right here, on something in your life that is just kind of got your goat. I know goat and witch don't go together, but there's a goat that we get sometimes, and we're frustrated about something, and we really, really, really want it to change. I was upset the other day because I realized my neighbor up in Witchville doesn't walk her dogs as much as I think she should. Now, can you imagine? wasting your time, frustrated with the way your neighbor treats their dog. But that's what happens to me sometimes. And I have to laugh at myself and say, Heidi, witch of wonder, you've got a whole life that you need to pay attention to. Like, bring those thoughts back into the lane of your life and laugh at yourself, but realize that is not your business, right? I am one with everything, but that means that I allow other people. I am willing to see the spiritual divinity in people that may not do it the way I do it. Now, I love this symbol. Yes, it is the yin and yang symbol. And I want to tell you about it. It says the principle of yin and yang is that all things exist as inseparable and contradictory opposites. For example, female, male, light, dark, young, old. The pairs of equal opposites attract and complement each other. As the yin and yang symbol illustrates, each side has at its core the element of the other, represented by the small dots. Neither pole is superior to the other, and as an increase in one brings a corresponding decrease in the other, a correct balance between the two poles must be reached in order to achieve harmony. Let's take a deep breath, yeah? It really is. I see people in coupleship here. I see people in relationship here, and you have practiced this. You've practiced the yin and the yang. You've practiced you may not do it the way I do it, but I love you. I love the you that you are. All right? So this becomes something that is so much bigger than, just me developing this personality of me. It becomes me in the world. I hear you have an election coming up, yes? And people have been all over the map with this is the way, and this is the way, and this is the way. It's caused me a great amount of stress, and I don't really live on this planet all the time. Oh my gosh, right? It's hard. And I've had a lot of stress around it just watching the stress. So we have to be willing to see people as people and to realize I am one with everything. Can we say that again together? I am one with everything. And the idea is to sit with it. There's a quote that I couldn't find, but I want to tell it to you from my witchy wonder, is that if everyone could take 5 minutes of silence, every single person, there would be no wars, right? Because the ability to sit when I'm uncomfortable is very strange for me. But I've committed to do it because I want to feel free. I want to be who I am. I know that's absolutely my main job on this planet, is to be who I am. Okie dokie. So I am going to leave you. Don't clap, please. Anyway, with this idea of how to really take this into your world, because there's a lot of safety here at Unity, because we really love everybody just as they are. And so it's when you go out in the world and you got to practice. I'll often say, why doesn't it feel like it feels at a Unity community out in the world on the highway? But the idea is because we're practicing how to allow life to be what it is and be the blessing that you are. I'm really excited about how we have evolved, how there is this experience called For Good and this song that you will be hearing soon. I hope that it will allow you to melt your heart to those that are other, that are different, so you can experience this next wonderful, wonderful version of yourself. So Rumi, another friend of mine, has this beautiful quote that I'd like to end with. It'll be the last one here. And he says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, and I will meet you there. Happy, happy Halloween. Be the spirit you are and be free. You're one with everything.
Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.